First of all, what is the definition of research? What is it? What you understand by research? Research is basically, it is defined as the creation of a new knowledge or the use of existing knowledge in a new and creative manner, so as to generate a new concept or methodology. That is basically called as research. If we see the word in terms of literature, this word research has been originated from a French word, that is researcher, which means search and search again. If we see the English word, the research, it is comprised of two small words. One is re, other one is search. Re means again and again. So we can say that in terms of literature, to search again and again, that is called as research. So scientifically, if we see the word research, it is basically a systematic inquiry that investigate the hypothesis, suggests new interpretation of data, and poses new questions for the future research to explore. And in term, if you see the steps, it is basically a planned investigation which is carried out in an organized and systematic ways. It also produce information data which can analyze to understand the things which we do not know. A lot of educationalists, lots of researchers, they have given their own definition. So out of all them, I have noted down one famous educationalist. He is from United States. He has given the definition as research is an systematic, controlled, empirical, and critical investigation of hypothetical proposition about the presumed relations among natural phenomena. Altogether, if we see the research, if you define the research, it is basically in the systematic way. If we are doing something new, that is considered to be a research work. Now, from this definition, we have analyzed these three steps. If you see broadly the research, it follows this following three steps. The first one is asking a question that nobody has asked before. If someone is doing research, means it is a new kind of work. You cannot say that if you are just doing the same kind of work, if same kind of work which is already done by somebody else, that will not consider to be research. So asking a question that nobody has asked before means, if you are asking that, that means you are asking something new, so that will be considered to be a research. It's a part of research. Then doing the necessary work to find the answer means to get that answer, you've asked the question. Now to get that answer, you have to do some necessary work. So that is the second part. The third one is communicating the knowledge you have acquired to a large audience. Means from that, suppose you got an answer, that is fine. You got an answer from the question which you have asked. By doing a necessary amount of work, at the end you are getting an answer. Next thing is, that is also very vital, communicating the knowledge. Whatever knowledge you acquire from your work, that you will have to communicate, that you will have to communicate to the scientific community, by which the people, those who are doing work related to your area, they will get to know what kind of research all the people of that particular area are doing. If someone will tell that, no, I am doing a research and I'll keep that things within me, so in that case it will not be fruitful. Because suppose you are doing a particular work in 2019. Now this work you have already done, and you are not communicating the work, you are not acknowledging the work to the scientific community. What will happen? Same kind of work other people will do, they will get the credit. So once you are doing the research, you are getting something new result, that means you will have to acknowledge that thing to the scientific community, by which the people, the researcher of that particular area, they will get to know about that particular topic. What are the recent advancement that has been done in that area. They will get to know. So that is also very vital. Means communicating your research work to the scientific community, by which the people who are doing work related to that area, they will get to know about your work. Now this is the research degree. To which degree we'll call as a research degree? Basically, in broad sense, we generally consider the postgraduate degree along with the PhD. Originally the PhD degree will be considered to be a main research degree, but still the postgraduate degree like MTech, MS, MPhil, MSc, these all are called as the research degree. Now the main thing is that question arises: what is the basic difference between a undergraduate degree, means BTech, BSc, as compared to the research degree? See, the undergraduate degrees are course oriented. Means, suppose suppose you have taken admission in the BTech or BSc, it will be a particular duration, 3 years, 4 years. Some courses will be there. Means these are the courses you will have to learn during this 4 year, 3 year time duration. Then at the end you will have to give the exam. But in research, there is no certain time durations are there, because particularly if you see the consider about PhD only, also in MSc and MTech, people they do project in the final year or 1 year. But in PhD, just consider there is no fixed time duration, and it is not particularly course oriented. In your research degree, the researcher has to think about that particular topic, and he will be the master of that topic at the end. In other difference, we can say that uh, while writing for the exam, suppose you are doing a bachelor degree, and at the end of the bachelor degree, you are sitting for the exam. If 40 people are sitting for the exam, whatever question has come in the exam, everyone they write in a similar way, yeah, more or less similar way for a particular question. But in the research degree, what happens? Everyone has to do a different kind of work. If everyone will do a similar kind of work, that will not consider to be a research degree. It will be duplication. So in research degree, everyone, those who are doing research, they must have to do a different work. Their work must be different as compared to the other people's work. And research degree is not time, there is no fixed time duration for the research degree like PhD. I've seen some of the MTech student also. They complete. They generally do not able to complete their MTech work within that 2 years time, just because of the research work, the thesis. So until and unless it will not be, you will not able to fulfill your objective of your work, which you have said at the starting, you will not get the degree. So in PhD, you cannot consider that you have 4 year I am serving in an institution, in a research organization. That does not mean that you will get a degree. For getting a degree, you'll have to fulfill your this objective which you have set. It may take 4 year, 5 year, 6 year, even in some cases it takes 7 years. That's why this research degree and in research degree, what happens? If the researchers, they always think by themselves. But in this your bachelor degree, undergraduate degree, what happens? The students, they are generally they generally uh, follow a particular structure, follow some textbooks, and whatever teacher they are giving suggestion, and they always try to sit for the exam, where they try to write a particular answer which the teacher has taught them in the class. And also they always try to follow the book. Generally it happens, people they some of the good students, they follow the research paper also, but generally in undergraduate, people do not follow the research papers and all. They follow the textbook. But while doing research degree, yeah, while doing your PhD, your MPhil, while doing the project, in that case, if you will only follow the textbook, it will not be you will not be get the success. Because yes, you'll have to follow the textbook to get the basic knowledge while doing the coursework and all. You'll have to follow the book textbook, that is fine. But once you start the research, in that case you have to be acquainted with the the research which are happening in the uh, your particular duration of the time. Means if you are doing a research in a particular area and you will follow the research paper 3 or 4 years back, which is already done, in that case it will not be fruitful for you. So always you have to be up to date with the research and of the scientific community. What are the advancement has been happened in that particular area, that you will have to uh, check from the the different kind of website, different kind of your sources where we can download the journal and all. So this research degree is completely different as compared to a bachelor degree or undergraduate degree. There is no time duration, there is no fixed things you have to follow. And at the end of the research degree, what means how you will be considered to be a successful one, means whatever things you are doing in your research, you must be a master of that particular area. Even if you compare the knowledge of that area, your knowledge of yours of that area with your supervisor, you should have more knowledge than your supervisor, because supervisor will guide you, that is fine, but the knowledge which you will acquire, that you will have to acquire by yourself. That's why always the research degrees are very quite different as compared to the bachelor degree. And in research degree we consider this MPhil, MTech, MS, MSc, all are research degree. But moreover, the PhD is the ultimate research degree. And once you are doing the once you are completing this PhD, means you are getting a license to do the research. Generally it happens because you are getting an ample amount of time to do the research. But in MSc or MTech, you get 1 year for the project. But in PhD, generally what happens, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, there is no time duration. Generally people, they get the stipend, yeah, the scholarship for 5 years, but it may extend, the tenure may extend more than 5 years, 6 years, like that. Next is the motivation in research. How the research scholar, yeah, the PhD student, they will be motivated to do the research. The first thing is that to desire to get a research degree along with its consequent benefits. If someone has registered as a PhD scholar in a university or in an organization or a research organization, the first aim should be that he should get a degree within a stipulated time duration. And that thing motivate to the student. Yes, this is the time duration, that 5 year I'll get the scholarships. Within that 5 year, I'll have to complete my research work. If I'll not be able to complete my research work within 5 years, I'll not get the degree. So that will act as a motivation to the particular student to achieve the degree. Next is desire to face the challenge in solving the unsolved problem. Generally what happens, before while choosing the topic, generally it happens in the institution, the supervisor, they ask what is your interest area. The interest area, it may be considered to be very broad. Suppose I'm considering I'm taking example of the material science. In material science, people, they used to make different material, different thin film coating they make. So what happens, you can say that yes, my research area is material science, because in the master degree and the undergraduate degree I have gone through some of the courses. But in PhD you will have to be very much specific. So while doing the research, a supervisor will ask, you'll have a discussion with the supervisor that this is my area where I want to do the work. Now the thing is that what specific work you want to do, that depends upon you. Now you'll have to find out the research gap of that particular area. Means what are the things which is already done and what are the things which has not been done. Now you have to find out that research gap as a challenges. So desire to face the challenge in solving the unsolved problem. If some problem has not been solved by the research community, you will generally, the researchers, they consider that as a challenge and it acts as a motivation to them. Next is desire to get intellectual joy of doing some creative work. I'm giving one example. Suppose nowadays this COVID-19, due to that the world is getting affected. Till now, uh, mm, uh, till now there is no vaccine for that particular disease. So if someone is someone will consider that as a challenge to him, that yeah, I have to I have to find out one medicine, one vaccine for the particular disease. So in that case, you'll that that thing will be considered to be a motivation to the particular researchers. Means something new you are doing, and once you will be able to get the success, you will be definitely awarded. That will be also considered to be a motivation. And desire to get intellectual joy. If you are doing something new, the society, the scientific community, they will recognize you. They will acknowledge you. Yes, he is the researcher who has done this work, and for that you may get different kind of award. So that kind of things are called as intellectual joy. The next is a desire to be of service to the society. Definitely, the same example you can say, in the society, a lot of problems are there. You can consider to be the climate changing, that the renewable energy. Nowadays, this fossil fuel, they are means due to the limited availability, people are giving much more focus to the renewable energy. If someone is doing research related to the renewable energy like solar energy, wind energy, or ocean energy, in that case, if you are getting a good result, it will be considered to be a fruitful for the society, and you will be acknowledged for that. So that will also considered to be a motivation to the researcher. Next is desire to get respectability. Definitely, everyone wants the acknowledgement. They want the respect from their societies and from their subordinates, from their faculties. Sorry, from their faculties, yes, from their supervisor. If you are doing a different kind of work and you are uh, getting a success from that work, definitely people will acknowledge you. They will praise you. So that also acts as a motivation to do the research. Altogether means out of this five, except this five, there is another point I have not added out here. That is the uh, security, or you can consider to be a money oriented. You can also consider, because everywhere, if you will do a good research, then definitely there will be a probability of getting a good job. Suppose someone wants to join a university, join a research organization. In that case, he has to get a PhD degree with a significant amount of publication, with a significant amount of work during his 10-year PhD work. So that also always work as a driving force, a motivation to the researcher to work in a particular topic. And they, due to that kind of motivation, so they generally, the researchers, the PhD student, they get the success. And everyone should be motivated to do the research. Means those who are doing PhD, they should be motivated enough. It is not like that you are doing research but you are not motivated enough. In that case, it will be wastage of time. Same thing happens. Your students, uh, they just mm, like during their PhD, 6 years, 7 years, they spent to get the PhD degree. Sometimes what happens, some people, uh, they are not motivated enough to do the rigorous work. That's why this thing happens. So before going to the research, you should be motivated enough by which uh, by which you'll get the degree with a certain time, and you will get a respect, a praise from your subordinate and from the society also. Now we'll go to the type of research. The type of research is basically in three different way. One is on the basis of your category of purpose, category of process, and category of outcome. On uh, on the basis of category of purpose, it is of four different type. Out of four different type, first one is the descriptive research, second one is analytical research, exploratory research, and predictive research. Then on the basis of the category process, it is of two types. One is qualitative research, other one is quantitative research. Next is type of research on the basis of category of outcome. On the basis of category of outcome, it is of two types. One is fundamental or basic research, that is also called as a pure research. The second one is the applied or action research. Now we'll discuss one by one. First one is the descriptive research. What you understand by descriptive research? Descriptive research, it includes the fact-finding inquiries of different kind, such as what, why, when, who, how, and all. The main of this kind of research is description of the characteristics of a phenomena at present. Basically, if you see this descriptive research, it is a fact-finding investigation which is aimed at describing the characteristics of individual or a group. Basically, the people, the researchers who does this kind of research, the researchers, they do not have any control over the variables. In this kind of research, what happens? They do not get the control over the these variables. Also, they report what has happened or what is happening, and also they discover the cause why these things are happening. They generally try to find that kind of thing. If I'll give an example, the good example would be like if a management student, he is doing research on a customer preference about a particular product or service. In that way, that will be considered to be a descriptive research. Also, the other example I can give you is the frequency of shopping. That will be also considered to be a descriptive research. Here also I have given another example, that is the periodic table categorizes the element, that is also considered to be a descriptive research. If you see in terms of medical field, this descriptive research, the example would be like finding the most frequent disease that affects the children, or you can say that the old age people of a particular location. That will be considered to be a descriptive research. The reader of the research will know what to do to prevent that disease, thus more people will live a healthy life. That will be an example of the other four example of descriptive research. Now we'll go to the analytical research. What you understand by analytical research? This research mainly carrying out analysis on a phenomenon and which involve the secondary data. Here generally what happens, the researchers, they consider the secondary data and they try to analyze that secondary data and get the result. In this kind of research, the researchers has to use the fact or information already which is available, and they analyze that available data and they get the required result. It works within the constant variable. It also try to explain existing state of affairs from available data. Now next is this is exploratory research. What you understand by exploratory research? In this type of research, it is basically the development of you can say that hypothesis. If someone is developing a hypothesis, that kind of research is called as exploratory research. Yeah, it is a preliminary study, means preliminary study of an unfamiliar problem. Means if someone is doing a research and that area he is not familiar with that particular area of the research, that will be considered to be a exploratory research. So for the starting researchers, suppose that a PhD scholar, you can consider any research start with exploratory research, because the people who does the research, they do not have any generally they do not have any idea regarding the particular topic. So any research start with exploratory research. That is a basic step. The descriptive research, that is the basically basic step. The descriptive research, as the name suggests, it done in details and is based on the exploratory research. Now we'll go to the next one, that is the predictive research. Predictive research is basically predictive research. You can consider like if you are predicting something in predictive research, the researcher must be able to define clearly what he wants to measure and must be adequate must find adequate method for measuring along with clear cut definition of population he wants to study. Means suppose someone is want to do a research and he is predicting a particular value. In that case, it will be considered to be a predictive research. Now I'll tell the different type of tool which is generally used to do the predictive research, because already uh, you have some set of data, and by considering that data you are predicting something. The statistical tool like regression, your linear regression, or your logistic regression, this kind of tool they use to solve this kind of research work, this predictive research work. Now, this is the major area where we use this predictive research, or you can say that the marketing area, yeah, the business area, because what happens while doing the research in a particular your business topic, what happens? Suppose you want to do the forecasting about the next year. In that case, you'll have to consider the data of the previous one, and you'll have to analyze that previous world data by using different techniques, and you have to find out the uh, result for the next year. In particularly business and the marketing, they use this predictive research. Now the qualitative research and the quantitative research, means the second type. Uh, this is qualitative one and the quantitative one. Qualitative research means it is the categorized of the process, different process. Qualitative is means here where there will be no number. That is basically the qualitative research. You can define in other ways that the research which dealing with phenomenon that are difficult to quantify mathematically. Means some things are there. Suppose you are taking the view of human behavior. In that case, you cannot predict, you cannot visualize the human behavior in terms of a quantity. That will be considered to be a qualitative research. Means where uh, there are it will be difficult to quantify mathematically, such as belief, the attribute, the attitude, that and the symbols and all, that will be considered to be a qualitative research. This research designed to find out how people feel or what people often think are coming under this research. It is basically a behavioral science, you can say that. Suppose you can consider that in a particular countries, what will be the behavior of a particular age group people of that particular country. If you are doing analysis on that topic, that will be considered to be a qualitative one, because you cannot figure out the behavior of a particular person in terms of a number. That is basically called as the uh, qualitative research. So there are some advantages of this qualitative research over this quantitative one. Advantage would be it would be good for exploratory research and hypothesis generation. And in this case, fewer restriction or assumption are placed on the data to be collected. This research, it enables more complex aspect of a person experience to be studied. These are the different advantages of qualitative research. Now we'll go to the quantitative research. Quantitative research is basically the research is based on measurement of quantity or amount. Means if you are able to measure something, that is considered to be a quantitative research. If you are getting a particular value, numerical value you are getting, so that will be considered to be a quantitative research. For example, it can be also defined as a systematic, empirical, or investigation of a phenomenon by statistical, mathematical, or even say the computational technique. Means by using different techniques, if you are getting a statistical value, so that will be considered to be a quantitative research. In this case, the researchers use different tools as a container or equipment to collect the data and all aspects of the study are carefully designed, designated before the data is collected. So this kind of, particularly someone is, if someone is doing an experimental one, in that case you can consider that that is quantitative research. If you're getting a value, a particular parameter value you are noting down, in that case that will be considered to be a quantitative research. Now, the advantages of this kind of research would be like, the quantitative research, it allows the researchers to measure and analyze the data, because they are getting some value, they're getting a result, the numeric value they are getting, so they can easily analyze the measured value, measured data. Then the researcher is more objective about the finding of the research. Means, suppose you are getting a value, yeah, this, for example, I'm giving you, you are doing an experiment, and in the experiment your target would be that I want to get a particular value. So in that case it will be easy to analyze, because our aim is to achieve that number. To, it is generally, it is easy to achieve a numeric value rather than a that qualitative one, where there will be no numeric value. Next, the fundamental or basic research or pure research. Basically, this is this kind of research is considered to be a pure research. Means it is basically, if you see the example, the law which we used to find at the starting, these are called as the fundamental or basic research. Basically, if you see, those are the science background, basically the Newton's law and all. So these findings are called, considered to be a fundamental, or this is your basic or pure research. I can give another example related to the this fundamental research or the basic research. Means, how did the universe begin? If someone wants to do the research in that, how did the universe begin? That will be also considered to be a this is fundamental research. Also, you can consider that in physics we used to find out what are photons, neutron, electrons, what is the weight of that and all. Already this thing has been analyzed. That this kind of research will be considered to be a fundamental, or this is also called as the basic or pure research. It involves the collection and analysis of data to develop or enhance the theory and have an understanding of theoretical relationship between variables. And this kind of research, generally what happens, we use this research in the application part, particularly in the next your next research, whenever we'll discuss the action research. So in that case we use this fundamental research to analyze something. Generally what happens in engineering, it is very tough to do the fundamental research. Engineering is the application part. Generally the science people, they do the this kind of fundamental or basic or pure research. Now next is applied research. Applied research, this is also called as the action research. It is defined as a research which is used to answer a specific question, solve a specific problem, or to gain a better understanding. It is also called as the action research. It aims at finding solution for an immediate problem facing in society or an organization through systematic inquiry. You can also define this applied research in that the scientific study and the research that seeks to solve practical problem. Suppose you are suppose you're facing some practical problem, and you want to resolve that problem by doing a research. In that case, you can use the concept of the basic research or pure research to do the applied research. The main goal of the applied research is to improve the human condition. For example, treat or cure a specific disease. Suppose one specific disease is there. In that case, if you want to cure the specific disease, for that you will have to find out a particular medicine and all. In that case, you'll have to use the concept of the basic research, and you'll take the concept of the basic research, and you'll able to solve the applied research problem. The other example, we can also say that improve the agricultural crop production. Suppose in a particular land the production rate is getting decreased year by year. In that case, by doing what is the cause of the problem, and by using a particular by using the particular concept and all, you'll have to find out the reason, and that kind of research will be considered to be a applied research. Also, you can also consider the other example as the energy efficiency of your home, office, or the mode of transportation. Suppose you want to improve the efficiency, energy efficiency at your home, energy efficiency at your office, that will be also considered to be a applied research. Uh, Now, these are the on the basis of these three purposes, on the basis of that your purpose, process, and outcome. It was the total uh, 8 different types. The first one is descriptive, analytic, exploratory, then predictive, then your qualitative, quantitative, and fundamental and applied research. Now we'll go to the some other kind of research, that is one is called as your out of that one is called as your longitudinal research. What is a longitudinal research? Longitudinal research is basically the research one group have to study it for a long time, and it studies different stages in an individual's life at all. It is a correlation research study that involves the repeated observation of the same item over long period of time. That will be basically considered to be a longitudinal research. The example would be in medicine, the design is used to uncover predictor of a certain particular disease. That will be considered to be a this is longitudinal research. If the research group have studied a long time research, if they are doing a long time research for a particular topic, that will be considered to be a longitudinal research. Next is this is laboratory research, field setting research. So in that case, what happens? The research is depending upon an environment take into consider for a research. Suppose you are doing experiment in a particular laboratories. In that case, that ambience of the laboratory, it also affect a different variable in that ambience, that also affect. That kind of research is considered to be a your laboratory research. Now next is this is clinical research. Clinical research is the type of research which follows a case studies method and have an in-depth approach in order to study causal relationship. The example would be like research is done by a doctor on a crucial disease. If one disease is there and the doctor is doing a research to find out the reason and all about the particular disease, that will be considered to be clinical research. The next is here historical research. Historical research is the research which involving the analysis of events that occurred in the recent past, in the past. That is basically the historical research. The application would be historical research can show the pattern that occurred in the past and over time, which can help us to see where we came from and what kind of solution we have used in the past. Now, some steps are there to do your historical research. The steps would be like identification of the research topic and formulation of the research problem or question. Then you have to collect the data, collection of data. Then you have to evaluate the data. Then you have to prepare the then after the evaluation you have to do the data synthesis, then report preparation or preparation of the your narrative opposition. So in historical research, what happens generally, suppose something has happened in the past time. In that case, you have to analyze that particular topic. You have to collect the data about the particular topic, and you have to do the analysis. Generally, people, they particularly the arts people, they do the research in the history and all particular topic they used to take. They find out the data about the particular topic means by from different source, and they analyze that data. And basically, if you see the main demerits of this historical research is it's very time consuming. People used to take a lot of time to do the historical research, and it is the resources to get the resources about a particular topic. It is very tough to find out about a particular topic, because in a science or engineering, what happens, everything is available in a particular we are website and all different kind of journals are there where you can easily get that one. But for a research, for a historical research, you'll have to, generally people they used to follow a lot of old books to find out about a particular things which is already happened in a long past. Now, next, sorry, is a conceptual research. Conceptual research is, you can say that this conceptual research is basically used by the philosopher or thinker to develop a new kind of concept, or or to interpret the existing one. Basically, this conceptual research, it is used by the philosopher. They generally, they um, use generally they develop a new concept or to interpret the existing one. This is called as the conceptual research. Now next is the experimental research. What is an experimental research? Experimental research means if you are using a particular experiment, experimental setup to get a particular result, that is called as the experimental research. That means you are using a particular machines or equipment, you are doing sort of experiment, and you are getting a data, and just getting the data is getting that result is not sufficient, because getting the result is called as the data. To analyze the data, that is basically called as the experimental research. Generally people while writing the manuscript and all, what they do is the person who do the research at the starting time, suppose they are doing experiment, by doing the particular experiment they are getting a particular value, a result, and in the article, in the journal, what they do is they just write the result. Yeah, these are the result I am getting from the experiment. That is not sufficient. You can write the result, that will be considered to be a data. You are just expressing the data. Now the main thing is that from where you are getting the data, how you are getting that result, that is very vital. And this experimental result generally it happens in science and engineering field, like your chemistry people, your physics, your engineering people, they do this kind of experimental research. Now the next one is your causal research. This research is used to measure what impact a specific change will have on existing norms and allow market researchers to predict hypothetical scenarios upon which a company can base its business plan. Means, as suppose a particular company, just I'm giving one example, in a cloth industry, if one jeans manufacturing companies, any t-shirt manufacturing company you can consider, if previously they used to make a black color jeans, suppose, and it was and the selling in the market, selling of that particular product in the market was also good. Now that manager, the particular person who is the concern for this, this color and all of that particular product, if he wants to change that color from black to suppose white, and he wants to sell that thing in the market, that kind of changes, that is considered to be a casual research. Means they just want to check the market statistics by changing the color of the jeans, a color of a particular same designs are same, only they are changing the color, and they just want to check the statistics of the market. Means previously what are the number of products it used to sell, and now what is the number of products it is going to sell. So these are the difference they will find out between these two, and they will analyze the significance of different color. That kind of research is called as the causal research. Now we'll go to the your correlational research. It is a very important one. Correlational research refers to the systematic investigation or statistical study of relationship among two or more variables without necessarily determining the cause and effect. For example, I can give you, suppose the listening to the music, generally it happens like listening to the music lowers the blood pressure level, and you want to check whether it is whether by listening the music it generally whether it decreases the blood pressure level or not, that you have to check that one. Now two way you can check, either by doing a survey or by doing a experiment. By doing experiment, you can take the sample, a blood sample of different people, and you can check the your this blood pressure of that particular yeah, you can check the blood pressure and all, and you can find a result. And at the same time, you can ask the people how you feel while listening the music. In that case also you will get a result. Now you will correlate these two one. And if you are getting, suppose, yeah, same result you are getting by surveying and by doing experiment, that kind of research will be considered to be a correlational research. Means we are doing experiment, also we are doing a survey analysis. Two things we are doing, and we are correlating the result of both surveying and the experimental one. So that is considered to be a correlational result. Now we'll go to the research process. What are the different research process which generally the researchers follow while doing the research? So these are the broad classification. If you see, one will be the research proposal, then will be research your this activity. The final will be the writing part. In research proposal, first thing will be that identify the general study area. Means just consider about a PhD student. What happens? Suppose uh, in bachelor, the yeah, they are special. In bachelor, what happens? Generally, we call it the department, the branch. Suppose someone is from mechanical. It is quite broad. A lot of things are there in mechanical. A lot of things are there in the electrical, in computer science. Now in the master, what happens? You'll have to narrow your area of interest. Within mechanical, production is there, materials is there, design is there, thermodynamics is there. Likewise, certain things are there in broad classification. Now you'll have to choose a single one in the postgraduate level, in the MTech level. Which one you'll have to choose on the basis of your interest. Now, suppose you studied the production one in the your this postgraduate level. The next thing is that in the PhD, you'll have to choose. You'll have to be very specific. You have to choose a specific area about your interest. Suppose your interest was production. You did your bachelor degree in the production. Then, sorry, you did your master degree in the production. Now you'll have to choose a specific topic in a specific topic from the production area, and that will be considered to be a PhD topic. First thing is to identify a general study area. The general study area will be the production one, yeah, materials one. Yeah, those who are doing the management people, that will be like your HR, your operations, your finance. So that will be your broad area. In the MBA, generally they take the specialization as your this operations, your HRs, your finance. So in that case, suppose someone will interested to do PhD, so he will have to find out a specific topic from their specialization. The next step, that is, choose your research topic. Research topic means out of that broad area, you'll have to choose a particular topic for your research. You have to do a rigorous literature survey. You have to see the number of articles which has been followed in that particular area. Then from that area, you'll have to formulate the plan and the methodology. Once you choose the topic, next thing is that whether you'll have to do the experiment, or whether you have to do a mathematical study, whether it will be a survey kind of thing. That is the formulate plan and methodology part. Means how you will perform your work, how you will do your work. That's the third step. First one is the broad area. Second one is to choose the this research topic from that broad area. Then the third one is formulate plan and methodology. Means how you will do the work, whether you will do the experiment, whether you will do the mathematical modeling, whether you will do the statistical analysis. That is the formulate the plan methodology. Then next is the collection of data. Collection of data means it is basically, you can say that it is the just to get a result. Yes, this is the experiment I am doing. These are the parameters I have considered, and this is the result I am getting. The thing is that by doing this experiment, you are getting a result. That is fine. That is considered to be a collection of data. That is not sufficient, because if you will not analyze the data, if you will not analyze the result, that will not consider to be a proper research. The next step, that is analyze and interpret of the data. Means whatever result you are getting, now you will have to correlate that result with the other work already which has been done by other researchers. Also, at the same time, you will have to give the reason of your result, why you are getting that kind of result. That also you have to state. That is basically called as the analyze and interpret one. And these two are collect data, and analyze and interpret data. It is generally considered to be a research activity. The last one is present your findings. Means it's a written content. If someone is doing PhD, he'll have to write all this thing in his thesis. If someone is doing this thing in his master level, he will have to write this thing in his thesis. Or also he will have to, also the the researchers will have to send that writing for the publication and all. These are the last part. Now in details, this is the various steps already we have discussed. Just I'll go one by one in a a short manner. Formulating the research problem. First, you'll have to find out the research area topic. From that, you'll have to find out your topic, broad area. From the broad area, you'll have to select your own topic. Then you have to find out the research gap of that particular topic. Means what the people has already done over that particular topic, and what are the new things. And from that, you have to find out what are the research gap. Means what are the things which the researchers has not been researchers have not been analyzed, and that thing you want to incorporate in your PhD. Yeah, that will be, that thing you can consider to be an objective. That will be the formulating the research problem. Then extensive literature survey. This literature survey, it is a throughout procedure. It is not like that at the starting only you'll have to do the literature survey. Throughout your research work, you'll have to do the literature survey, just to acquainted with, just to up to date with the current research work which is happening throughout the world. Then developing the hypothesis. Means once you are doing the literature survey, then you'll have to develop the hypothesis. And preparing the research design. Means how we'll proceed the research. Already have discussed this thing, whether you'll have to do an experiment or you have to proceed mathematically. Then determine the simple design. Collection of data, means collection of result. Then execution of the project. Then analyze this data. Means whatever the result you have got, that you have to analyze whether the result is good or bad, whether this result, whatever which you have achieved, that is up to the mark or not. Until and unless it will not be up to the mark, you will have to repeat that one. You have to change the parameter. You have to change your this the process which you have followed. Next is generalization and interpretation. You have to do the interpretation and all. The last one is the writing part. Whatever result you are getting, suppose it is satisfactory, then you'll have to and you have to, whatever result you are getting, you have to give the proper reason, and you have to go for the writing part. And you can communicate the paper, or you can write the thesis for the submission. Now the criteria of the good research. Means how you can say that, yeah, this is a good research, yeah, the researchers is doing a good research. The first is the purpose of the research should be clearly defined and common concept be used. Means before starting of the research, the researchers should clearly define his objective. What are the things I want to do? This is the thing, this is my objective, and I want to achieve this objective within this 5-year time period and 4-year time period. Objective must be clear. Next is the research procedure used should be described in sufficient detail to permit another researchers to repeat the research for further advancement, and keeping the continuity of what has already been attained. Means suppose you are doing a research, and you have to give your procedure, this experimental procedure, your analyze procedure, your methodology, you can say that, description of your methodology, by which what will happen, that if someone wants to do the repetition of your work in that case he can validate, yeah, whether the work which you have done, that is uh, completely correct. If you will not disclose the procedure, what will happen? People will not be able to understand what are the procedure which you have followed while doing that particular work. Then the procedural design of the research should be carefully planned to yield result that area objective as possible. Next is the researchers should report with complete frankness flaws in the procedural design and estimate that their effects upon the findings. If the researchers is able to find that this is the problem I have faced while doing the research, while going through that particular your process, he can write that thing in his in the writing part, by which the scientific community will able to know that, yeah, uh, this is the wrong method by which the other people they can face the problem. That thing also the researchers has to has to clear about that. The next is the analysis of data should be sufficiently adequate to reveal its significance. Means basically you can say that the validity and the reliability of the data should be checked carefully. Means you are doing the experiment. If someone is doing a repetition of the experiment and in that they should get a particular same kind of thing, yeah, more or less same kind of thing. Next is conclusions should be confined to those justified by the data of the research and limited to those for which the data provided an adequate basis. Means after doing the work, you should uh, you should put the conclusion in such a way that the uh, process which you have followed and the result which you have got, that should properly described in that. And if someone will see that one, they must easily identify and they must easily get the result, yeah, the conclusion whatever you have got while doing your work. Next is greater confidence in research is warranted if the researcher is experienced, has a good reputation in research, and is a person of integrity. And it's definitely correct. If someone is having a experience, definitely he will have a more knowledge regarding that particular area. So that's why people say no. PhD is a degree by which you'll get a license to do the research. And if you want to continue the same similar kind of work after a PhD, in that case you will have already got the experience your PhD, and that experience you can use while doing the further research of that particular area. Now, in altogether, if we say a good, how we define a good research work, that is basically in this four way we can say that the good research is systematic. Systematic means a proper uh, process. The researcher must follow a proper process. With that, he has to go through, and at the end he will get the result, and he has to define that proper process which he has followed. That's why good research is systematic. Systematic things you will have to follow. If you will not follow a systematic thing, suppose you will do one kind of, suppose you are choosing a topic, then you are not you are working for in that topic for 2-3 months, again you are just replacing the topic with the another topic. In that case you will not get your result. First you have to choose the topic, then you will have to do the literature survey, then you will have to find out the research gap, then with that research gap you will have to do your research work. So all the things should go in a systematic way. Whatever process we have discussed, that you will have to follow properly. Otherwise what will happen? You will not get the result at a proper time. Generally this thing happens. People, some students, they even they take 2 years 3 years to formulate their problem. 3 years they spent without formulating their problem and research work. Next is good research is logical. Definitely if you are giving a proper reason of a result, that is quite fruitful, that will be considered to be good research. Suppose you are getting a result, that is a data. Why you are getting that data? That is very essential, and you have to give a proper reason why why I am getting that result. Suppose these are 5 parameters are there. On the basis of the 5 parameters, you are getting the result. Now, what is the significance of that 5 parameters over your result? That you will have to analyze, and you have to give a proper reason. The good research is logical. Then good research is empirical also, means whatever result you are getting, it must be empirical. Then good research is replicable. Replicable means if you are doing a research at the same time, if you are doing a research and if someone, by following a certain procedure, and someone is uh, following that particular procedure, he must get that kind of result, or more or less to that kind of result. If complete different result if someone is getting, in that case your research will not consider to be a good research. That's why it is must be replicable, the process which you have followed. If that's why whenever you do the experimental work, the student must do 2 times 3 times to check the experimental setup and to check the process which he is following. Until and unless you will not follow, you will not do the work 3 4 times, the experimental work, that will not consider to be a good research work. That's why what happens in, I'm giving an example related to the mechanical field. Suppose someone wants to test a material, someone wants to test the hardness of a particular material, whether that material is very hard or not. That we can check by using different machines. If someone is testing at a particular point over the material and he is getting a result, that is fine. The next thing is that the result whatever he is getting, that is okay, fine, but but the researcher has to do the testing for 3 4 times in the different location, by which he can confidently tell, yes, by changing the position, what are the things I'm getting, and average of that he can consider as a hardness of that particular material. So while doing the research, this replicable is very important, because what happens due to some this so overall, if we say that the research is a good research if it is a systematic one, if it is a logical one, and it's an empirical one, and it is a replicable one. If altogether all these points will be satisfied, then the research will be considered to be a good research. Thank you, everyone.